It's Kevra. That's me, I'm Kevra, and wow, the internet just did like a total 180. Cause like all this past year, I've seen nothing but, oh man, the Super Mario Brothers movie, it's gonna be awful. They got Illumination Studios doing it, Chris Pratt's doing Mario, it's gonna be so bad. And now today they're singing, that trailer was fire! That trailer was fire! Oh, I think I just found the title of this video. So we just got our first look at the Super Mario Brothers movie. Well, technically the second look. The first look was technically yesterday with the poster, but today we got our first trailer. Now, just up front, I want to say that it felt like it wasn't an actual trailer. It felt more like a teaser trailer, and I wish they would have marketed it that way because we didn't see a whole heck of a lot. It was mostly just Bowser going to this penguin kingdom, kind of being like, oh, I'm the big bad, and then we see a little bit of Mario and a little glimpse of Luigi, but it was really very Bowser and penguin focused. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I just wish they would have given us a heads up and said, hey, this is a teaser trailer as opposed to like a full-length trailer. Even though it is a full-length trailer, it's 2 minutes long. But again, there's just not a variety there. And that's why I feel like there should be a lot of mixed feelings on this. Even though I know there's a lot of positive reactions, I'm still a little bit hesitant. Now, don't get me wrong, I am definitely going to see this movie 100%. I don't care if the reviews are terrible. I am absolutely going to see this thing. But my assumption from the get-go has always been this movie is not for us. This movie is for kids. I mean, of course, they're always going to market it as family-friendly. It's fun for, any and all ages, but that usually means, yeah, it's mostly geared towards the kids. And I especially feel like that's true when it comes to Illumination animation, which is why I've been telling people it's not a big deal that they're going through Illumination. It makes a lot of sense that they're going through Illumination because they're trying to market it towards a young audience. They're trying to get a whole new generation of Nintendo fans, of Mario fans. Like, I have always assumed that the whole point of this movie was basically for a bunch of kids to go to a theater, love the movie, and then go home and be like, Mommy, I want a Nintendo, I want to play Mario. And I hope that kid's got a summer birthday because Christmas isn't going to be until like 8 months after that movie, so he's going to have to wait a while. However, after watching that first trailer, I am not quite sure of that anymore. Like, the way the trailer starts off is epic. I'm just going to say it, Bowser seems like a freaking badass. I mean, the dude comes off as so intimidating, it's even a little bit scary. But like kid scary, not like adult scary. Like I could see like a kid being scared. If an adult was scared, I would really... So that's why my first reaction when watching this was, oh my gosh, this is so good. It definitely was not what I was expecting. And then it kind of became exactly what I was expecting with the snowballs being thrown at Bowser and not remotely, hurting him, and the penguin being overly confident and being like, have you had enough kind of a situation? And I was like, oh my gosh, these penguins are basically the Madagascar penguins. I don't know about this. But at the same time, you gotta have that kind of stuff in there for the kids. I mean, you gotta remember, this is still a family movie. And while I'm sure there is humor that I'm going to enjoy, there's also going to be a lot of humor that I just kind of roll my eyes at and I have to kind of get over because it's a kid's movie. And for me personally, that's what I'm kind of trying to suss out is exactly how much of a kid's movie is it going to be? Because when it started off, it seemed like it was more of a movie geared for me. But then little things here and there made me go, oh no, this is definitely still for kids, 100%. But the question is, how much? Is it gonna feel like it's more towards kids, or is it gonna feel like it's a kids movie, but it's also a really good adult movie as well? And at this point, I would say it's too early to tell. I feel like it's still gonna be geared towards kids, but I do think the older fans won't feel shafted. And honestly, I think that's the best case scenario you can get from something like a Mario movie. I mean, Mario is for everyone, so they weren't gonna make it too dark, too mature, anything like that. It was always gonna be for kids. The question is, how much was it gonna be for adults as well? And at this point, we don't quite know, but I will say that opening scene in the trailer just made me feel like I have a little bit of hope that this isn't just a kid's movie. Now, of course, we still have not gotten a big enough, long enough look at this movie to be able to decide, and let's face it, up until the movie actually releases, we still won't be able to tell. Like, I am sure you are all very well aware that trailers can oftentimes be misleading. Sometimes you watch a bunch of trailers and you're like, oh my gosh, this movie's gonna be so good, and then when you walk in there and watch it, it's either, well, the trailers were the best part and the rest of the movie was crap, or the trailers were a little bit misleading and it wasn't quite the movie you were expecting. And that's why I wish we wouldn't have gotten a teaser trailer. Like, again, I think it was a good trailer, but at the same time, it doesn't give us a true sense of what the film is. It gives us a sense of what I think is likely the opening of the movie, because I really do think it starts off with Bowser invading the Mushroom Kingdom and getting the star, and then Bowser does his line of like, "Who's gonna stop me?" And then, you know, the title of the movie, The Super Mario Brothers, pops up because that's who's gonna stop him. And then we flash over to Brooklyn, or maybe just New York in general, and maybe even New Donk City. But like, it's very clear that, and a lot of people are saying, oh, Chris Pratt is just doing his normal voice. I mean, you can tell he has some sort of accent in there. It's really hard to tell just based on that one line that he does. I guess he has 2 lines. But that last line that is basically "let's go," but phrased in a way that's not, you know, broken English, shows that he's doing something with his voice. You don't really get a good sense of it, but you can tell something is there if you're paying attention. I'll admit, the first time I watched the trailer, I didn't catch it. But then the second time I watched the trailer, I was like, oh no, he's doing something with his voice.
Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Like, that is clearly not his regular voice. It sounds like it's New York, but I'm not actually 100% positive on that. Again, we don't get enough of it to really know. It just sounds like it's kind of like that, but I'm not 100% certain. So right now, I'm not going to judge his voice because I'm not someone who was of the mindset of like, it needs to be an Italian accent. It never has to be an Italian accent. They've done lots of depictions where he's from Brooklyn. Like, yeah, he has Italian heritage, but he's still from America. That's where he was born and raised. So yeah, the whole Brooklyn thing doesn't really bother me. It's been done before. And I also want to say that I was never ever someone who was one of those people saying Mario should always be voiced by Charles Martinet because that's who's been doing it for the last 30 years. And that's exactly what it should always be because that's the way it is in my brain. Just learn to let things go. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think Charles Martinet is great for sound bites. I think hearing him in the Mario games is fantastic. But if we had to hear him for 2 hours doing, "Let's go, it's a me, Mario, oh no, mamma mia," like, oh my, that would have been so grating. You would have literally wanted to impale yourself with an ice pick. Because honestly, it all just sounds the same. There's not a lot of range to what Charles Martinet does. It's just a stereotypical Italian broken English accent, which again is fantastic for the games, but that's also because there's no depth to it. There's not a lot of him talking. Like, just try to imagine that voice doing some kind of deep, dramatic moment where the princess is lost, all hope is lost. It seems like Bowser has won, Mario is about to throw in the towel, and you have that voice of the "Mamma Mia, oh no, the princess, she's gone forever." Like, you can't take it seriously. So yeah, I don't think that ever would have worked. That being said, when I watched the direct where they announced Chris Pratt as Mario, my literal reaction was
to reveal our key cast members who will be voicing Mario and his friends in the movie.
what the fuck?
Is Mario.
However, right now, I just don't think we've heard enough of his voice to actually give it a judgment. I know that's the thing that people are being the most critical about, and I think that's weird because, again, we barely heard him. And honestly, I'm kind of wondering if that was on purpose because of the way the internet reacted to the casting announcement. Maybe not, because it does feel like, again, that scene that we saw with Bowser is probably the opening scene of the movie, and it sets up what the movie is about. And it also feels like it's something that really appeals to the older fans who have been like, it's just an Illumination movie, it's gonna be stupid, it's gonna be really for kids and blah, 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 blah. And then that tone that it sets makes you go, oh no, this actually looks like it could be really cool. But at the same time, maybe they wanted to give you that first because they were really afraid if they showed off too much of Mario, people would be like, oh no, Chris Pratt, his voice is so terrible. He's not doing an Italian accent. This is so bad. We don't like this. To be fair, that happened anyway, but still. But enough about Mario's voice and my possible conspiracy theory. Let's talk about everyone else's voice and portrayal of their characters, which I think mostly was good. The only one I didn't like was the penguin dude, who, I mean, I don't even know if that's a specific penguin from the Mario lore or whatever, but excluding the stupid Madagascar penguin, I think everyone else did a great job. Michael Keaton Key as Toad, I think was fantastic. I think most people were expecting Bowser to be pretty good, and he pretty much delivered on that. Although he did sound a little bit, like, that first line he did was really good, and then I feel like the second or third line or whatever, he sounded a little bit more like Jack Black, which I don't mind, but I kind of wish that he had more of that, like, darker, raspier, we can't tell this is Jack Black kind of voice throughout. And the one big voice I don't see anyone talking about is how good of a job Kevin Michael Richardson is doing as Kamek. Considering this actor is known for his deeper, lower voice, especially in movies like Lilo and Stitch, I was very surprised to hear how he did the voice of Kamek. Now again, there's not a lot here to go on, but so far, I'm optimistic about the direction it's going in. Unfortunately, the only thing we heard Charlie Day do as Luigi is scream as he runs away, so we really didn't get a good sense of what's there, but you know, his screaming wasn't bad, so I guess I'll take it. Now let's talk about the look of everything, because I think that's the biggest surprise. When I saw the poster yesterday, I was completely caught off guard. I thought for sure it was gonna look a lot more like the games, it was gonna be less textured, kind of like how Despicable Me looks, but without like the weird body shapes. But this looks gorgeous. Like, even if the acting all ends up turning bad, even if the story ends up being a piece of garbage, I am looking forward to just looking at this thing. Yeah, Mario's face doesn't look exactly right. It looks like it has the gist, but not down perfectly. Same thing with Luigi's face, even though we barely see it at the very end. And even Bowser kind of looks like Jack Black for a moment whenever he's doing like his like snarly smile face. But again, when you're showing these characters off for 2 hours, and it's not just you playing as them and jumping around, they're actually saying things, they're actually showing emotions. They're gonna look and sound a little bit different because they're gonna have more of a range. And even if you dislike some of the way the characters look, you have to admit the environments are beautiful. Between the lava, the ice, the mushrooms, the stone statue of Bowser's face. Like, this looks amazing. Now again, where my concerns come in is mostly about the story. Like, it seems like Bowser's searching for the superstar, I guess, and I guess there's only one of them? And then he delivers that cheesy line of like, who's gonna stop me now? Ha ha ha. And I'll admit that was kind of cringy for me, because I know it's a kid's movie, but still, like, they could have written that line better. Like, you might as well have given Bowser a mustache and just had him twirl it. But again, kids movie, you have to let things slide. I mean, despite the fact that Detective Pikachu was a very predictable, simple plot of a movie, I still really enjoyed it. But I just know in advance there are gonna be things that, again, I'm rolling my eyes about. Of course, the most cringy and eye-rolling moments I experienced wasn't even in the trailer itself, it was the stuff around the trailer. Like, a lot of people are talking about how bad Chris Pratt was doing that little video message that he did, but at the same time, Jack Black wasn't that much better. He was definitely better, but he was still pretty bad. Like, I feel like both of them didn't know exactly what to say and exactly who the audience was going to be, because let's face it, most of the people that were watching this direct aren't little kids, but at the same time, the movie is gonna be for little kids, and so I feel like that's kind of a weird audience to go for. And I also just hate the whole like, oh, celebrity culture, we're gonna put them in there and people are gonna like it because they like the celebrities and they wanna hear about their lives and all that. I hate that kind of stuff. I absolutely can't stand that kind of stuff. Also, I always hate whenever they're like, oh, I used to do this kind of thing. Like, I used to be a fan of this, but like, you're not a fan now. I mean, I used to be a fan of Barney when I was a kid. Doesn't mean I'm going to make the most epic Barney movie ever. Or maybe I will. I mean, probably not, but maybe. So Chris Pratt going on and on about like how that was like a big part of his childhood and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, but you don't play the games now, so I don't really care. And also, like, come on, who has not played a Mario game? Almost everyone in the civilized world has played a Mario game at least once. Even my 70-year-old mother has played Mario. Oh, and then that Universal guy, like, I mean, he did okay, I guess, but at the same time, you could tell, like, he wasn't super comfortable reading in front of a camera. I'm assuming he was reading. It looked like he was kind of reading. But yeah, that was also kind of cringe. Like, the only person who wasn't cringe was Miyamoto, and I think that's just because we're so used to seeing him and doing this little shtick on Nintendo Directs where it's just like, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. Okay, bye. And let's face it, almost everything that led into the trailer was a complete and total waste of time. Like, you could really tell that the only reason they were doing it was because of the fact that everyone had such a negative reaction to the casting announcement. They felt like they had to do some PR and be like, hey, look, we're having Koji Kondo, you know, work with the music composer. Hey, we've got a lot of Mario fans working on this movie. Hey, Chris Pratt really loved doing Mario when he was a kid. Chris Pratt was doing Mario. That's funny. But regardless of the bad stuff, regardless of the personal fears that I have, I am still really looking forward to this movie, and I cannot wait to see it in April. And before then, I'm really looking forward to seeing the next trailer and getting a really good sense of what Chris Pratt sounds like as Mario, as well as Charlie Day as Luigi, and all these other things, especially, you know, what else is going on in this movie. Because right now, we barely got anything. We got the intro scenes. That's about it. So I'm really looking forward to eventually seeing more footage. But what about you guys? What were some of the highlights for you? What were some of the bad things for you? Did this trailer change your mind? Were you always thinking that the movie was gonna be good? Have you not changed your mind and you still think it's gonna be bad? Let me know down in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button because I will definitely be talking more about the Mario movie that is coming out. Although, I don't know if I'll be doing it on this channel, or I might be doing it on my other channel because that channel is all about how to adapt video games, but that's more about, like, you know, how to do it in the proper way. I'm starting with The Legend of Zelda. I got like 17 videos written. I've been talking about it for coming out for a while, but these videos will get posted before the Mario movie comes out, guaranteed. I am going hard this winter and finishing a lot of these videos up. So yeah, subscribe to that other channel. I'll leave a link in the corner, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.